cell phones. I do it all the time. If it doesn't work, I open it up on my phone, and it never fails on my phone.
It
Only
never
fails
fails.
on
Never
it doesn't.
fails. It's the one trusted source above everything else.
Right.
Yeah. Gary was asking before you jumped on, Dan, how did you see a difference when, you know, the email went out for the response? And I said, oh yeah, we saw.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll chat if we got a few minutes to chat after this. I'd like to kind of go over the method behind the madness on a reactivation campaign, and how we can systematize that down the road.
Yeah.
Because it's proven to be necessary. So just a bunch of dead leads that went away. But you know, once we reactivate, especially now, we're in a unique situation where they might not have been as motivated before, but will be now. So anyway, we're live. We're on YouTube. Thank you everybody for joining us on Easy Homes University. And as promised, we are going to start bringing you weekly YouTube videos where I corner Dan and get them to answer some of the questions that you all have asked. And there's multiple places you can do that, by the way. You can do that on the YouTube channel. We have questions that come in under the comments. And obviously, if you go to our Instagram at Easy Homes University, there's questions that you can populate there or DM us, and on Facebook as well. So we look forward to those. Those are helpful, especially as you're thinking through, is this the right market for me? Is this the type of thing that I want to get into? Whatever's making you have cold feet about jumping in this market, these are the guys to ask. So really excited to have them on. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Yep, really good.
Good. So I guess let's just kind of start off with the first thing that I think we should address right now is what are some of the unique aspects of investing in mobile homes right now, opposed to obviously the whole stick-built home industry is at a standstill. I mean, you can't show homes, you can't, there's a myriad of things that you can't do that you can do in this market that doesn't require you to be face-to-face with anybody. And in fact, you guys are comfortably sitting in your homes and able to purchase and sell today. So if you guys could just maybe touch on a little bit of why this industry is so unique in that regard.
Okay, want to take that one, Dan?
Yeah, I'll start with, you know, we're doing it. We've been doing it actively this way really for several years, where we buy and sell pre-owned mobile homes without ever visiting the homes. We sell them many times to our buyer network without ever meeting that buyer in person. You know, they actually go do self tours of the homes. You know, this isn't really anything new to us. We've been showing homes from long distance, or even homes in our backyard, without ever meeting the buyer at the home. Now, doing a deal with the seller to acquire the home initially is generally you need to have some boots on the ground or be able to access that home. But we do a lot of long distance deals. For example, I'm doing one right now in Texas. I live in Michigan, and I've got a partner in Texas who will go out and look at the home for me. But that home will probably be vacant. You know, it's going to be empty, vacant. This inspector, this partner with me, will be able to go look at it without coming in contact with anybody. I've already gotten pictures from the seller, so in a way I've kind of looked at the home through photos. I've looked at the property from satellite imagery on Google. I'll be able to, if I acquire the home, buy the home, it looks like we're going to, I'll be able to share that home in terms of images and an inspection report to our prospective buyers. They can almost look at the home without going to it. When they get a little closer to wanting to go kick the tires, they'll be able to go see the home. We'll have a key in place at that home where they can access the home privately on their own, go through it, and make a buying decision, all without ever really having to come in contact with any humans. So but we've been doing it like this for years in many cases. So I think the COVID-19 sort of environment, we were ready for this without even knowing that we were ready for it, or with that intention in mind. So I think in this day and age, with the way we can use the internet, photos, imagery from satellite views, we can learn a lot about a home without ever having to go in it. So we're in a time and place where I think mobile home investing is a great opportunity, because we can do a lot of it without physically going into the properties.
Sure. And to that point, you know, the way that technology plays a role, I think, cannot be overstated. I mean, you guys have mentioned that you're having owners of these homes, they're able to FaceTime you and literally just walk through the home and share with you guys live video of any questions you can have. You can instruct them to go closer to a wall or point it up at a water spot on the ceiling or look at the roof. So
Yep.
that's unique.
It's a different type of dwelling than a stick-built home or a site-built home, where we're not interested necessarily in the features of the land or the property.
Yeah.
These are mobile homes, so we're interested in the features of the home itself. Much of the time that home's going to be moved, so we're more interested in, can it be moved easily, and those are the things that we're looking at. And so comparing that to a stick built is, I think, much more complicated. There's many more moving parts and more complexity that you have to deal with.
Yeah. Dan Lane, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
You know, just the fact that, you know, the investing in mobile homes is, I think, as what Dan said, it's vastly different than stick built, because stick built, you're buying actual land with the structure, and typically the only thing we're buying is the mobile home, which is personal property. And the fact that our exit strategy can be one of many, not very many, you don't see very many stick-built homes going down the road being pulled by a toter.
Right.
If you have, give me a call and send me a photo. I'd be really curious to see what that looks like. But, you know, with mobile homes, if you guys really start to notice on the highways, you'll start to see that they're being moved constantly. There's literally hundreds and hundreds are being moved daily, and I might even assert maybe thousands in the United States. So, you know, that's the beauty of our business, is you can sell them where they're at, or you can sell them and utilize them as, you know, their mobile capabilities. So there's a lot more buyer possibilities for mobile homes than there are stick built.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, I think, you know, it's so unique because not only is it transferable in terms of a lot of the normal stuff that would be transferable, titles and mortgages and all that, but in this sense, the fact that the home is actually transferable is certainly unique, and it allows for versatility in your buyer market, right? Like you're usually stuck geographically wherever the home is that you're trying to sell in a traditional real estate environment. And in this case, not only do you have the availability of looking for homes across the US, but you uniquely have the opportunity to find buyers anywhere in the US who can bring that home to themselves and set it up and do that safely. So,
All right. Exactly.
yeah, that's great. Well, let me start with, as we have some users jumping on YouTube, and if anybody has any questions, again, just feel free to drop those right into the comments that are live on the YouTube video. I see we have a few watchers, so we'll keep an eye on that as we go through this interview. What I want to do is just share a few questions that we've seen come in since our last one, or that they've come in through different models, and just get your guys' thoughts on this. So Lexi had said about 6 days ago, she said, "Hello, I have a question. DMVs are closed in Illinois, and I purchased my first mobile home mid-March from the park." So here she is, she's entering the market. This is her first opportunity, and all of a sudden DMV is closed and she's stuck. So, you know, in light of COVID, horrible timing for your first purchase. But what can you do? She said the park said that the title still hasn't been mailed to her because everything is closed. Park brokered the deal from the seller in the park. I have keys and a mobile home has been in my possession since 3/15. I have a new buyer and told them the situation. They still want to buy and gave me my down payment. Should I give them power of attorney and just follow up in months to come once the state reopens? I know that's a very unique question for a very unique scenario, but maybe you guys have some tips on dealing with things like the DMV in this season.
Yeah, it's the first time since we've been in this industry where the DMVs, I don't think they're totally shut down. You know, it's a state by state situation. I guess my recommendation to her is to follow it closely, keep an eye on the status of their DMVs when they open back up. She should have a paper trail that she's collected from her park if they brokered the deal for her. You know, it sounds like the T's have been crossed and the I's have been dotted. She's just going to have to be patient and wait for the DMV to open back up so that she can get her new title.
Got it. Yep. Okay,
Yep.
that sounds good. So this one says, "Hi Dan, I'd like to partner with you guys. How do I go about starting that? I live here in Texas." Maybe that's the southern slang for Texas. So if
Yeah.
people are interested, there's two. Obviously, there's student partnerships, which the easiest way to get into that is through easyhomesuniversity.com. You can see join our webinar, jump right in, and everything that you need to get started in that regard is there. Anything else that you guys would like to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, literally, Texas is a hot spot. Obviously, not just for the heat down there, but it's a hot spot because it has so many parks and homes on land. We've got our license down there. We're bonded and insured. I mean, we've been fully functioning down there for, I think it's been 5 or 6 years. So, yeah, I just encourage them to contact us. If they're starting from scratch, I definitely suggest, like you said, Gary, they go to EZU and sign up. That's a big part of it. We got lots of ways that we can partner with them. If they've got resources they want to use on their own, we can do that. If they want to have us partner with them, we do that. I mean, we can go through all that in the EZU format.
Yeah.
But I definitely encourage them to work with us and partner with us. And we know how to navigate Texas, and it's a very challenging state to deal with because it's there's a lot of control factors in Texas and a lot of documentation. And we've been doing this, like I said, 5 or 6 years. So if you don't know what you're doing, you can have a paperwork nightmare. But after you've done, dozens and dozens of deals, it's just second nature for us. So we can certainly add credibility to that.
Would you say Texas is one of the more complex states, if not the most?
Oh yeah, no question. I haven't found one that even comes close.
Okay.
You can navigate it, but you have to know what you're doing. And we've done a number of homes down there, so we know how to navigate their bureaucracy.
Okay. Maybe could we touch a little bit on what it means? Some of the things that are available to partners in Easy Homes University, and this isn't a sales pitch. This is just, I think there's so much available behind the scenes that people aren't even aware that's been developed over time. So if you're thinking about investing in mobile homes, one of the unique aspects of joining Easy Homes University is not only the experience that Dan and Dan have, but maybe you guys could touch on unique solutions that you're able to bring to some of the partners who have had great success since they've joined.
Well, maybe Dan, you can share the most recent one with John there in Louisiana.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Yeah, just this morning, we've got one of our partners that signed up, purchased our program, and he's only been in our program for, I don't know, it might be 45 days now, and came in right before COVID. And we actually bought our first home together in Louisiana. It was a lead that we I believe, generated, and then had him go look at. So we coached him on how to go there, look at things. I would have FaceTimed him and shown him everything on the site, but there was such poor reception that he couldn't even get it where he was at. So I gave him a to-do list, told him what to look for. He did a darn good job. Missed some things, so when he went back again, he covered them. But he just we coached him how to sell the home, and he had 4 or 5 buyers out trying to outbid each other for that home, and we bought that home for $4,250. It was a 1994 16 by 76 3-bed 2-bath single, metal roof, metal sided, and he's collecting a check today for $10,000 on that deal, and we just got the title on that, I would say, less than 10 days ago.
Wow.
So we're gonna make over 50 some $100 on that, and that's his first deal. And we even asked him this morning, what can you share about it? He said he was just excited, the education, the coaching, the experience of working with the sellers. We let him do a lot of the work. We just coached and mentored him, and he had to do the rest. So he's going to have a nice windfall, and he now knows that he can buy and sell a home in Louisiana, and he can't wait for the next 8 or 10 of them to go down.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we've had that same experience with a number of other, partners around the country, where or in some cases we haven't had a partner. We hire a local inspector to help us out, or we just go based on images, photos, and a walkthrough FaceTime type of inspection where we have enough information. We make the decision. We acquire the home and buy the home and then flip it. So
I think the unique thing that we can offer people too is the lack of risk that they're going to be experiencing. I think everybody who invests in something, there's a risk reward model that shows up, and John invested in his family's future. And one of the things that we did is we made the decision on the price point that it was going to be purchased at for him. And so it wasn't up to him. It was us making that decision with him and for him so that he would win. Because left to your own device, you wouldn't know a good deal if it hit you in the face. Let's just say it like it is. Well, it's a 1994 Dan 16 by 80. I saw that they're getting 16, 18 grand for them. So if I buy it for 12, I'm doing great. Bad answer. After 16, 1,700 homes we purchased and sold, we've got our pulse on what's going on out there. So, John, really listened, and here we are. We bought that home for less than our suggested purchase price on our CRM said we should, and we sold it for I think if we would have waited a little longer, we probably could have got 11 grand for it personally. But as an old codger who taught us, Lonnie Scruggs says that was good enough. And $5,500 margin, I'm not gonna look back. I'll take it and run.
Yeah, and the 20-second bio on John is he's a school teacher, a math teacher, I think in the high school or middle school level. He's been working from home, obviously, since COVID-19 hit. He's probably been home almost 2 months, but a lot of time on his hands, and it was good timing for him to, a school teacher, to join our group, learn on a daily basis. We have a daily webinar every morning, Monday through Friday, and that's where all the training and coaching comes from. So just throwing that into the conversation here.
Yeah. No, that's great. Well, let's see what other questions we have here. So one said, you mentioned when speaking about notes, the con of getting them was having someone do the notes. Can you share a company that does that? So let's just talk about notes for a moment. Why are you guys not, why is that not the preference of approach? A lot of people in the industry, specifically if you were to look for mobile home investing, you're going to get by and large, most people talking about this avenue. And we have a whole YouTube video up on our channel just about notes. We have modules discussing the different models of investing. But could you guys maybe just as a quick refresher, few lines or so, talk about why you guys no longer are doing notes or that approach in investing?
Okay. Dan, you want to start and I can
Sure.
chime in.
Sure. So we did, Dan and I cut our teeth in this business, buying notes, buying homes, creating notes, buying a home for $2,000, selling it for 8 or 10, and, having a interest rate attached to it and a time table, but the proper term, as they call it. But the issue became when the SAFE Act came out, that really put a lot of weight of bureaucracy on our notes, and it really took the fun out of it personally. The amount of documentation, you now need an original loan originator, a mortgage loan originator, basically to oversee your notes. And you can find those people pretty much, at any lending institution. They'll hit you for a fee. They're not going to do it for free, I can tell you that. See, we used to be able to close our own deals without any cost. It would be us creating the note. So that was the beauty of it. And obviously notes turn upside down. And we had, I think, 70, 80 notes at one time. I remember when I first met Dan, I was pulling in 10 grand a month, and it was great cash flow. But then if you look at that at one aspect, it's great, but nobody ever talks about the bad side. It's like you never hear anybody talking about how much they lost at a casino, do you?
No.
Everybody's a winner.
That's
Surprise,
right.
surprise. It's like, no, let's talk about the other side. And why would we flip our business to flipping versus this? Is we just thought that the headaches of running down people and getting money, getting them out, getting the home back, paying lot rent, and the more notes you have, the more opportunity you have for default.
Yeah.
So if you had 80 notes and you had a 10% default rate a month, you would have been doing really good. It's probably more like 25 to 20%. So you're going to be chasing people, chasing money, leaving your family. And, we just like the idea of cashing out, having the return immediately, on to the next. Cash now is worth more than cash later, as they say. So that's my 2 cents. You want to add anything to that, DP?
Just real quick, we have done some, and so you have to change since you need a mortgage originator who's SAFE Act certified. The other approach to doing a deal where it's a set of payments coming in is a lease with option to purchase. We've probably in the last 3 or 4 years, we've done, a small handful of those. We do them in the cases where we can get a really significant down payment, $5,000 or more. We can count on them to give us a payment of $400 to $500 a month. And so those 2 conditions, that means the buyer has more skin in the game. We get in the black quicker. We'll consider those situations, but we have to get a really strong down payment up front. So we don't rule them, and we have to change the language of the agreement to a lease with option to purchase so that we can stay in compliance with the mortgage origination rules.
Got it. Okay. Well, that leads right into the next question. I think the question was, standard real estate uses a title search when examining both the property's history and the owner. Have you had any problem with undisclosed liens and judgments?
Yeah, a couple here and there.
We got taken on one pretty bad. I remember I did the deal.
But out of thousands of deals, it's really pretty straightforward to do a title search on a mobile home. Counties keep good records, states in some cases, but if there's a lien on a title, it's going to be pretty evident at a county level search or a DMV search. So
yeah, typically it's going to be right on the title.
Yeah.
It's going to be right on the title. So it's not on the title. You're pretty much in the clear.
Yep.
if somebody hasn't put a lien on that title, like if Uncle Joe loaned $5,000 to somebody to buy a home and he doesn't put a lien on it, that's between you and
Yeah.
Uncle Joe. That's not between us and the buyer
Yeah.
or the seller. So it's all about what's on that title. If there's a lien, you want to get them to sign off in a lien release. So don't fall into that trap, because we always ask for a picture of a title before we go look at a home, typically, because number of things will show up. It will show who's actually the owner.
Mhm.
They could say they're the only owner, and all of a sudden you see there's two people on the title. Well, you got to get both of those people to sign off.
Yeah.
And then if you see,
Yeah.
a certain bank or credit union, and someone says, "Oh no, I paid that off 10 years ago." According to this title, it says they're still on. So what that means is the lien release letter and the title have not been taken into the DMV or the Secretary of State, and they have taken that off. So you got to find that lien release, and that usually is going to come from the seller. And if they don't have it, they can certainly call their credit union or bank and ask them to email one over or mail them one.
Right.
Yeah, that's helpful. I mean, obviously, if it's one of the first things you're asking for and you're getting a picture, you know that's one of the big rocks to get out of the way to open up the deal. So
Right.
don't
Right.
go further unless you get that picture and take care of it.
Mhm.
Someone asked about lot rent. Why don't we ever speak about lot rent? How important is lot rent? How does it play a role in your guys' decision? How do you investigate lot rent? If there's back lot rent, what does that process look like currently?
Good question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dan. That's a
Well,
daily conversation.
Yeah, lot rent is something that you always want to talk about, because you might be inheriting taking that lot rent over. So when we talk about lot rent, we ask the seller, one of the questions is, what is the lot rent there? And if they're selling a home, are you fully caught up? Now, you ask that question and you're hoping that they're telling you the truth. All right. So, if it's $400, 500, 600, whatever it is, 200, depending on what area of the country you're in, that's what's going to be going forward if you buy the home and you're going to need to use some time to sell it. But what I think is equally important is to find out if it truly was paid off, like paid up. So we've got some people that tell us a lot rent's been paid up and it really hasn't. So what we do a lot of times, we actually have to go to the park and ask them, is the lot rent fully paid up? We're looking at buying this home. And as much as you don't want to tip your hat to their hand to the park, it's kind of important, because you don't want to give them 100% of the money, because once they've got it, there's a high probability you're never going to see it back.
Yeah.
So we typically give half down for a home, and then we do a final walkthrough later on when they've exited the home. And in that period between when we buy it and we do the final walkthrough, we've made a conversation with the park, discovered if lot rent is owed, and if it is, hopefully that 50% that we held back is going to pay that off.
Mhm.
So if somebody hasn't been straight with us, we're going to use that to pay it off. And our agreements state that, so that they know that if you're not telling me the truth, I'm using that 50% to pay that. And
Right.
so we're not going to get stuck with that.
Yeah, and it's not just lot rent, it's water bills, unpaid water bills, unpaid property taxes, all kinds of things that we'll use that second 50% to settle up those things. And it's very clearly spelled out in our purchase agreement.
It's a great idea.
Now,
Yeah.
something really quick I want to add is you want to also find out terms on their leases, because someone can say, I'm paid up on my lot rent, I want to sell my home, but and we always ask, are you on a month-to-month lease?
Mhm.
And sometimes they don't know, and sometimes they will. And sometimes you'll find out that they signed a lease and it's for 3 years or 5 years.
Yeah.
I've even heard one time for 10 years.
Hmm.
And so if that's the case, we have to make the park whole. I just negotiated with the park, sold a home back and they had a $1,000 per year on leases that would have to be paid if the home would be removed. So that's a $3,000 swing. Well, thank goodness the park bought it back and we didn't have to pay that. Otherwise, our margin would have been hit. But we knew that going in. We knew it buying the home, and the buyer or the seller knew it. And so we were, we made out fine. The park won, we won. Everybody was happy, but it was all in the conversation of what is the length of your lease? Are you a month to month? Are you a year? What are you? And if we didn't discover that, that could have been a $3,000 boo-boo.
Wow. Yikes. Yikes. That could hurt. That could hurt, especially if you don't know, you don't know until the end on some of this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you'll make that mistake one time.
Right.
Well, or more than once, but we at least know and can coach you on what questions to ask and what to look for. Because we've made a lot of these errors ourselves, and we can share those with you and help you avoid those same errors.
Yeah. Well, okay, guys, we are right at the 30-minute mark, and so I just want to thank you guys for joining us in another episode here, and we'll be doing these in the future. We'll also be transcribing these and making a Easy Homes University podcast for people that don't want to be watching video while they're driving around, but they want to be listening to this. So we're going to change that into a podcast so people can be joining us and listening to the episodes on the run. And we're looking forward to doing this weekly. And so if you have questions underneath this, leave comments over the week. We look back and just check to see what people want to know. And it's a great time for you to join us and get your questions asked either live or look for them on the next episode. So thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time on Easy Homes University.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, guys.